Hey guys, thank you for stopping by my channel today. I so appreciate all of the compliments and requests to see how I created this particular eye look, and so I enjoy doing what I'm told. And so I'm on my way to work in a little while. I just got out of the shower and I thought how nice to be able to not get ready alone and be able to get ready with you guys and show you my particular eye look today. So thank you for the feedback and for the suggestions, and let me show you what I've been up to. P.S. My hair is wet and kind of up. I always do my makeup before I do my hair, and so in order to do this eye look, we're going to be doing it with undone hair. So let's get into this eye look, which I have to say every morning I start out, I'm always thinking like, I'm just gonna do a simple look today, and then I don't know, I get carried away and I use at minimum 5 different eyeshadow colors, usually 5 to 6. And so I've gotten really good at it because I do it all the time. It kind of is my go-to look, and I don't care that my eyes are typically the most dressed up ones in the room, because actually my eyes, I favor them more than my lips. I don't ever really care what I have on my lips, I care what I have on my eyes. So this is my kind of daily reference eyeshadow palette, which I guess I could go into if you guys want to know what I favor the most when it comes to individual shadows. But I never bought eyeshadow palettes for the longest time, and then I totally got into it. Originally, like old school, I love individual shadows because I love picking out my own shades, and typically I would probably say my favorite shadow brand would be Anastasia. I have individual issues with many of the other popular individually sold shadows, which might come up in conversation, because that doesn't mean I don't use the brands at all, but if I had to pick a brand, it would be Anastasia. So I am going to start with a very fluffy brush. This is by Morphe. This is the M514. I'm going to use this guy to do my transitions shade. In that look, in that video, it was overall a little bit of a warmer look. So what I'm going to use to do as my transition shade is by Bobbi Brown. This is her individual shadow called Toast. Very overpriced, but inimitable in any other kind of overall for Pete's sake, transition shade that I have ever used before. By the way, I did pull the Tarte shape tape up into my crease, and then I set that as well. And so my eyes have also been primed. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to focus quite a bit more above my crease and almost up to my brow, but not really, because I want to put a slightly lighter shade up there, but I have a very broad lid into brow area, and so I find that this brush very nicely dispenses the product and the pigment very loosely and not very defined, but also gets it to go over this like Great Plains feel that I have going on above my eyes. If you're not a fan, if this brush is like too big for you, and that's entirely possible, for the same exact purpose, I love by Morphe the M505. So same idea, but the one that I use is a little bit larger. But this M505 will do the trick if you feel as if your lids are not quite as broad as mine. I'm actually going to, and I typically go back and forth, but I'm also going to use by Hoola. I love the Hoola bronzer to use as a transition shade or kind of like a crease shade. No, actually, I'm going to take a different brush. I'm going to go with the very standard Morphe M441. This is a natural, I think this is goat hair, so this is a natural bristle brush. I love doing that. I love using a natural bristle brush. This I'm going to focus a little bit more into the crease of my eye. I love using a natural bristle brush because when we're doing and applying shadows in this area, we want them to blend, right? We use blending brushes and we blend out like crazy. Well, the goat hair and the natural hair on the bristles, or of the bristles, kind of winds up holding on to a little bit of the color and the pigment as well. So it kind of, I feel like, assists with the blending of the shadows that you're kind of putting in that area. And so even though my Morphe, the first brush that I used, I don't know what's up with that one. That one is a, what do you call it, like a fake bristle brush? I don't know why that one, I think just because it's so fluffy and so large, it dispenses the product so nicely over my entire eyelid. But a lot of times when I'm in this kind of blending area, wherever you want shadows to blend, I love using natural bristle brushes. Wow, all of these words are so tongue-tied. Okay, so typically you want like 2 complementary shades that go kind of above your crease and then kind of into your crease, and that's generally where I start because it kind of like sets the foundation for your eye look, which sounds very complicated. Okay, one of my not brand new, but one of my new favorite brushes, also by Morphe, is the M514. Okay, first of all, by the way, brush is very dirty. No judgment, okay? I imagine this must be like what a smoker feels like, because I know you're not supposed to use dirty brushes. I mean, this is not even face brushes, but I'll be honest, all of my face brushes could probably use a washing from like 2 weeks ago. But I imagine that this must be similar to what a smoker feels like. You know it's bad for you, but you use a dirty brush, or you smoke anyway, but you just can't help it and you just can't stop. I don't know, I don't have time. And so anyway, this brush is normally white because it is also a natural goat hair brush. Did I say it's the M514? This guy is just very, very soft and very pointed. And I love using him in the outer corner of my eye. So you can use any just kind of warm, kind of deep chocolatey color. This is by Anastasia. This is Fudge. Probably one of my most favorite eyeshadows ever. By the way, for in the crease, in addition to Toast by Bobbi Brown and Hoola, the Hoola bronzer by Benefit, you can also use Birkin by Anastasia, and then ColourPop, whose shadows I also like. This is called Wake Up Call. This would work very nicely in the crease or transition shade area as well. So those are just a couple other alternatives. I really do like ColourPop shadows though, primarily because they don't blend away. I hate when you apply shadow and they blend away. When you go to blend them, they like blend away. It's like, I don't want you to blend away, I just want you to blend. Anyway, back to Fudge. I'm just gonna take a little bit on my brush, just a little bit, and just kind of, just so lightly tap on the outer, I wanna say outer third. I'm going up into the crease, but I'm not going above the crease. What I love is that when I use this particular brush, it kind of goes on semi-blended. Like it doesn't ever go in harsh where I'm like, oh boy, I gotta go back in. I gotta make sure that I'm blended out, make sure that I blend that out. I love that it's small so you can be precise, but it's also so soft that you can really apply it over a particularly broad area. As I age, I'm getting this like kind of crease in my eyelid, so I have to lift a little bit to make sure that the shadow goes in there. That was a hard day, the day that I had to realize that was a necessary step. And so once I get a lot of the product off and applied to my eye, I will kind of just keep going back and forth just to make sure that it's really blended. I did not create that philosophy about how the key to a good looking eyeshadow look is blending, which is why my makeup takes me enough time, not too much, but enough time in the morning that I literally don't really care to put a lot of effort into my hair, which is kind of also why I'm not really caring what my hair looks like right now. Okay, so a brush that I use that typically will never touch any shadow is by Sephora. It is the Pro Tapered Crease Brush. I honestly could not tell you whether or not this was real hair or synthetic hair. I don't really necessarily pay a lot of attention to that, except when I notice there's a white bristled brush. But what I love about this one is it's dense but super soft. And I use it just to, like I said, it never really touches a shadow, but I use it to just kind of do some final blending. And I typically will pick up this brush quite repeatedly or quite frequently during my shadow application. So it's soft enough that it's starting to pull it up like into the 1/3 or halfway into my crease. But again, what I love about the Anastasia shadows is that they don't blend away. Makeup Geek shadows do that all the time. I always feel like they go on so pigmented, and no matter what kind of brush I wind up using, I feel like the pigment disappears. And I don't think I think I am alone in thinking that. I don't know. So many people love Makeup Geek shadows. They're so affordable. I love the essence of Marlena. Like, I don't know her, but I love the essence of her, and I think that she's phenomenal both professionally, and she seems very genuine as a person, but I don't understand Makeup Geek shadows. I just don't. Although her like shimmer ones, they're phenomenal. Which I guess is why I have trouble with like her darker mattes and stuff, because that's where I'm trying to do a lot of blending and I feel like they don't stay still. Okay, my very first makeup brush ever, because I didn't even like start with it. Drugstore back in the day did not even have really makeup brushes. They only had the little sponges. My very first makeup brush ever was from MAC. It was before my wedding. This is, I believe, the 242. Yes, I have like 2 others, so let me double check because it's already worn off. Yeah, it's the 242. This is like a dense packer. I think the essence of my eye look, which like I said, I wear that one all the time. I kind of like the way all those colors like look together. Comes down to the one shadow that I use, which is also by Anastasia. This is called Gem. It is definitely a shimmer shade. It's got a peachiness to it though, which is what I enjoy to complement my slightly olive tone skin, my green eyes. It is one of my favorite shadows. I find that its application though, I'm really sad because I love the color of it. I find that for some reason though, it doesn't apply very well. And so I definitely have to use Fix Plus on my brush in order to get it to really kind of stand out. And so, yeah, I don't know why this particular shadow, like I said, I love the tone of it. I don't think it applies 100% well, but I don't care. I make the sacrifice and I put in the extra work to make it work. Okay, so I'm not even going near my crease, and I'm only so slightly overlapping where I put that dark shadow, the Fudge on the outer edge. And I do it both ways, by the way. Most of the time I'll pick up the shadow first and then spray my brush, because I don't like tapping wet brushes into the shadow pan. It doesn't really matter, like nothing drastic has ever happened, but I just try to do it in that order. But I do love how MAC Fix Plus will intensify a shadow very nicely. So keeping in mind that because I've used Fix Plus now, this is not necessarily going to blend a whole ton, but I know that going in, so I very strategically place that shadow on my lid. Like I said, kind of just past the halfway mark, and just kind of blend it over into the Fudge that's on the outer edge. Now I'll take that same Fudge brush and I'll touch Fudge one time and tap it off, and then just kind of very lightly hit that blended area just to make sure those guys get along. They do it once per side. Because the shadows are so pigmented, they do have the possibility of blending each other out. And so we want to make sure that everybody's getting along. And I think I've said this before in my other videos. Now I go in with what I call the negotiator. Right now, historically, I use Fawn from Anastasia, but you could also use Bel Air from ColourPop. Pretty similar. You just want not a pale brown, but you want, but not a dark fudge brown. Bake Sale by, who is this? Is this Makeup Geek? This is Makeup Geek. Bake Sale by Makeup Geek is also a really nice option. What I do is I take from Sigma the E25. This is the one that looks like a tulip, but he's very narrow. He's very precise but fluffy nonetheless. I tap Fudge ever so gently with the tip, get rid of it. And so now, not on the outer edge, but almost like the center third of my eye. So not all the way in, because I don't want to create a shadow, but where Gem, did I say that that was the name of the Anastasia shimmer? That was Gem. Where Gem is kind of meeting, there's kind of like a trifecta right here in the center third of my eye in the crease. And I use Fawn to just kind of get everybody to get along. So I don't bring it too far in because I don't want to darken the inner corner of my eye. And I don't bring it too far out because that's where Fudge is, and I don't want to not darken, I don't want to lighten that up. I want that to keep its intensity. But because this brush is pretty narrow and blends nicely into Fudge, it just kind of gives a gradient effect as you kind of go closer to the center of my eye. But at the same time, we are blending in that lid shade, which, like I said, now I need to say again, is called Gem from Anastasia. It just kind of, like I said, I call it the negotiator because it just kind of makes sure that everybody is kind of getting along. I lost track. How many shadows in are we? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that's number 5. Okay, so now we're gonna go in with number 6. I'm gonna use my MAC again, a 242. And I'm gonna use a MAC shadow, which I honestly, there are similar ones out there, but I cannot find one with this exact tone. This is called Orb by MAC. And it's kind of those creamy whites. It has a splash of pink. I don't know why, like a pinky peach. I don't know. I'm not sure why, but why it's so unique, because you could put them side by side with so many others and they wind up looking pretty similar. But this I use to just kind of highlight underneath my brow, kind of above the shadow that I had just placed there before. So I jot that in there. I'm going back to that Sephora brush, and I just, again, where all those shadows are kind of meeting up, like kind of on my brow, on the outer corner, in the crease, I just want to make sure that everybody's getting along. I'm gonna use shadow number 7. I think this is the last one. I'm gonna use that same MAC 242, which by the way is different. It's a different MAC 242 than the one I used on my lid. This one I reserved for all of the pale colors. I'm going to use by ColourPop a shadow called Pep Talk. So this is like the complement to MAC's Nylon, which a lot of people love to use for their inner corner. I like Pep Talk though because it has a slight like pinky sheen to it. And since this is a little bit more of a warmer look, I didn't necessarily want such like a silvery complement on the inner corner, but I just wanted something that was a little bit lighter than Gem, which was on my lid, just to kind of highlight just the center. I mean, just the inner corner right there. And I touch my eyes all the time, so if that looks a little bit harsh, that probably won't stay that way as the day goes on. Okay, I need to use some liner, which I need to grab, so hold on one sec. So I don't typically do a wing ever because, although I really want to, I'm very envious of everybody who wears these gorgeous winged eyeliners. I have a crease, a fold in my lid. Actually, I've put on a few pounds as of late, and I swear some of it has gone underneath my brow bone, underneath my eyebrow, because I feel like that area now is a little bit spongier. Is that like a sign of age, or is that because I put on a couple of pounds? I'm not sure. Anyway, I can't do a winged liner because I've got a very significant fold in my lid that really goes almost pretty much to the outer edge of my eye. So anytime you put liner over there, it gets all mangled the second I open my eye because it just looks awful, like with the crease there. So unless I like winged it out like horizontally, which I think would look ridiculous, I don't even try anymore. I just accept it and I leave it be. So I do like to apply liner to the upper, like kind of right over my pupil to the outer edge of my eye, just to kind of fill in any space between my lashes. I don't follow my eye all the way, and in fact you can tell I'm keeping my eye open because when I close my eye it wrinkles a little bit. So I just find my eye goes up and then kind of down. At the point where it goes down is where I start the liner, just to kind of extend up my eye just a little bit. And that's it. I just add just a little bit. It's nothing fancy. I typically, like I said, keep my eye open. I have to tell you, I can't believe I'm doing this while talking, because that usually never works. But you can see that I'm doing it, it's probably about 1/3 of the way in from the edge. And like I said, I tend to draw it just a little bit up. That's probably not as precise as I usually do it, because usually I'm like buried in the mirror. But you get the idea, and I'll fix that kind of off camera if I need to. What's so great is because I'm gonna put mascara on right now, and you're not even really going to be able to notice how precise or not it is, because I really am trying to hug the lash line. So now I need to go in with my mascara cocktail. Yes, I am still using my L'Oreal Telescopic Carbon Black Mascara. They say that's so bad that you do that. I'm sorry, I can't help it. You know what? Because the mascara in there settles. I know it's introducing air, but honestly, I use so much mascara that this doesn't really stick around very long because I use it very quickly. But I go in with this as a first step. I will probably get mascara on my eyelid, but I think I shared when I was doing videos a year ago, I think I shared that the tip to get the mascara off of your, let's say, eyeshadow and like your eyelid and stuff, is you simply wait for it to dry and then moisten a Q-tip. Moisten? I hate that word. Spit on a Q-tip. And then the mascara will actually wind up coming right off, and it will cause minimal disturbance to the shadow on your eye, unless you've literally like globbed yourself or poked yourself in the eye, because that has definitely happened to me before as well. But that's a lifesaver. Wait for the mascara to dry, otherwise it will be smeared all over the place and will form a paste with the beautiful eyeshadow that you just spent like 20 minutes of your life applying. I don't really have a rhyme or reason, like how many coats do I do? I wait until my lashes look good enough, and then I just kind of take it from there. Okay, so I lengthen first. I'm gonna let that dry for a minute, and I'm gonna line my lower lashes. I use eyeliner. I know everybody uses shadow. Sometimes I complement with a shadow. I might even do that today, but I like using eyeliner. I don't draw a harsh line. I love Teddy by MAC. It is a gorgeous kind of, it's a dark bronze, and it actually has a little bit of shimmer in it. I find that it takes me way less time. The consistency of the pencil is beautiful in that it almost draws on a blended sort of line. You can see I'm not even like really drawing a line. I almost apply it the way you would a shadow. I just find that it lasts longer, and like I said, it kind of just goes on a little bit easier. I'm gonna use some mascara on my lower lashes. This is the MAC Giga Black Extended Play. I have no idea. It's got like, once you have like 25 names, 25 words in your name, I'm sorry, I stopped trying to remember them all. It's the Blue Tube MAC Giga Black Extended Play Mascara. Okay, there it is. So apparently I'm functioning on a delay today. But anyway, I've used some other ones on my lower lashes. You can actually use the L'Oreal Telescopic. I find that that doesn't run or bleed or leak, smudge or anything. But I've been using this for years, and I'm never in a position like to want to test it. Like if I put a different mascara on the bottom, is it gonna leak and make a mess and get all over the place? I just don't have the patience for that. So, okay, back to my mascara cocktail. I'm going to take, this has taken the place of my Dior mascara, which I don't have in front of me because this has taken the place of it. The Dior Blackout Mascara, the Dior Show Blackout Mascara, which I still love, but just for like casualness, I don't need to use a 25, I don't even think it's 25 anymore. I think it's more than that. So instead I use this $4.99. This is by Essence. This is the Lash Princess False Lash Effect Mascara. People say it's a dupe for the IT Cosmetics Superhero Mascara. And I agree with that. By the way, I use this now to kind of volumize, and I focus on the bottom. And then if there's any lash area that did not get enough extension, that's where I'll pull it up. But I don't pull it up necessarily over the top of all the lashes, because then it's pretty voluminizing, and you don't want it to get so clumpy. So using this primarily at the base to kind of add some volume, because that Telescopic does not do volume at all. Anyway, do I think it's a dupe? I mean, I might have even said that in the past. I've kind of redefined my definition of a dupe, because the reality is the products are never the same. They're never the same. They can be similar, but they're never the same. Do I think they are similar? Absolutely. Absolutely. Do I think they do exactly the same thing? I think the IT Cosmetics is a hair better. I don't know, for some reason it adds a little bit more drama. This adds a little bit, the Lash Princess adds a little bit more of a neater effect to the eye. And so, do I think though, would you call them a dupe? Would they fit the standard definition of a dupe? Yes, I suppose so, but I definitely don't think they are exactly the same. By the way, the liner I used on my upper eye, I realized, is by Physicians Formula. It's the Eye Booster 2-in-1 Lash Boosting Eyeliner Serum. I don't care that it's a serum. I like the liquid liner of it. I think it comes close to the Tattoo Liner by Kat Von D, which is probably my favorite. But I got tired of spending all of that money all of the time, and this one works just as well. The catch with that eyeliner though is that the brush tends to get very soft over time, and it's not as sharp as it is when you first get it, whereas I don't find that that happens with the tattoo liner. And so what does that mean? You just got to replace it a little bit sooner than you might have. So it's got color left still, but the brush has kind of failed. And so I think that's an okay sacrifice, especially since you're like paying half the price basically, especially if you get it, buy one, get one, you know, the whole deal. So I think it's kind of hard to tell because I've been doing so much chatting. I think I finished my eye look. I don't think I forgot anything. I'm just gonna take a powder brush. This is by Sephora. I mean, whatever. You take any loose brush. Actually, let me say, this is the Pro Airbrush 55. I like use this for everything. I'm just gonna make sure that I've dust away anything that might have fallen on my face because I insist on doing my foundation first. And so I think that's it. I'll stand here and talk to you for a few seconds with my eyes closed because I can't stand doing the drama looks and being like, ooh, look at my eyes. Don't they look so sexy? Yeah, that feels really weird. So let me just show you what my eye looks like from a couple of angles. Thank you so much for the compliment and for appreciating the look that I happen to be wearing that day and for requesting this video. If you've got any questions for me, or I left some information out from the description box, which I will make sure I put down below and list all my products, definitely ask me. Let me know what else you would like to see. If you want to know my life palette, somebody else came up with that. I didn't come up with that. I think that was Luster Lux who came up with the idea of the life palette. Let me know if you'd like to see that, or if you've got any other video suggestions. I gotta go finish my hair. And that means drying it. I gotta go do my hair, get ready for work, and this was so much fun. So thanks for spending your time with me today. I definitely enjoyed getting ready alone, but with you at the same time. Thanks so much for stopping by. I hope you have a good rest of the day. I'll see you next time. Thanks.